This G29 Z4 is about to transform its audio system with our Alpha 1 amplifier and speakers, and today we're going to show you how to install it. This amplifier for Harman Kardon equipped MGU head units is our most powerful one to date, but it's still plug and play and has up to 10 custom tuning files to deliver the type of audio you want at any given moment. Now, while we pride ourselves in having custom mounting brackets for our amplifiers, we didn't get around to it just yet for developing one for the 688 Harman Kardon G29 Z4. However, we're going to use this install as an opportunity to cut some cardboard templates, transfer it to CAD, and in about 3 to 4 weeks time, we'll have an actual made-to-fit laser-cut custom black powder-coated bracket that is going to be plug and play for the 688 Harman Kardon G29 Z4. And that is how progress is made. Now, I know, why don't we just wait to show you? Well, this customer is here today and wants the best audio system on the market today, so why make the customer wait? Speaking of the best audio system, our customer also opted to get the complete Alpha 1 speaker kit as well. Now these speakers are not only designed to look good, but sound amazing with our Alpha 1 amplifier. Each speaker allows you to crank up the volume for distortion-free deep lows, clear mids, and crisp highs. With all of that out of the way, let's get to the installation with our new installer that you'll see from time to time, Kevin. Heck, even I jump in at one point, and so does Chaz, because here at Beamer Tech, we're a family, and we love each other.
And I thought it'd be pretty cool to offer to customers. I can't!
Anyway, here's the installation. Now keep in mind that when we do start shipping the custom mounting brackets with the kit, installing the amp to the chassis will be even more seamless. Let's start by making sure the top is down so you have more room to work, and then opening the trunk so we can disconnect the battery. Lift up and remove the floor panel. With a 10mm socket, remove the negative battery terminal and set it aside. Let's start with the center ones. With the trim tool, carefully pop off the grill. Next, remove the 3 T20 screws holding the mid down. And the 2 holding the tweeter down. Remove and unplug them. Prep the Alpha 1 speakers by taking the filter cable and plugging it into one of the slots on the A40. This is the speaker without the foam ring. Then take the oval tweeter and plug that into the other slot on the mid. Plug the main feed into the other end of the filter cable going to the mid. Drop the speaker in and screw them down. Replace the grille. Let's work our way back and do the doors next. I'll be showing you on the passenger side, but it's the same on the driver's side. First, use a trim tool to remove the plastic cover exposing this T20 screw. Next, this trim. Use a trim tool to pry it off from the top. It will be very tight. At the bottom, there's a tab holding it in place. Wiggle it up and out. Remove the 3 T20 screws. Next, at the bottom of the door are 2 quarter-turn 10mm fasteners. Rotate them until the panel can move freely past them. Finally, start popping the panel off the door. Just watch for the door pin. The only thing I decided to remove was the door latch cable. After that, I gently rotated it and set it down. Locate the mid and remove the 3 T20 screws holding it in. Including this bent one. Interesting. Remove and unplug it. Grab the Alpha 1 A45 mid and plug in the filter cable. Plug in the tweeter cable on the other side. You can tell which one is the tweeter cable by matching it to the tweeter lead above. Once matched, plug it in. Plug the lead from the amp into the other end of the filter cable. And reinstall the speaker. Tidy up the excess. For the tweeter, pull the housing up and away from the door. Pull out the foam panel. With a trim or pick tool, carefully bend back the tabs holding the speaker down while pulling up on the leads to it. It will pop out. Unplug it. Grab an Alpha 1 tweeter, line up the notch, and snap it into place. Place the foam back in, run the cable, plug it in, and put the housing back in place. To replace the panel, make sure all the fasteners are reset. If they are not, pop them back into their neutral state or just replace them with less complicated non-G series fasteners and you'll thank me later. Start by putting the door latch cable back in place. Test the handle to confirm it works. Next, make sure the door pin is in place and start popping the door panel back on. Here, Kevin jumped back in to help. Once secure, turn the fasteners at the bottom to secure the panel in place. Replace the 3 T20 screws. Replace the plastic cover. Replace this trim handle like so, starting from the bottom and working up. Now for the fun part, the rear speakers. Start by moving your seats all the way forward. Next, take a trim tool and remove the rear half of the rollover support cover. Remove the center mesh. Then remove all of the T20 screws under it. Remove the front half. Do the same thing on the other side. Use a trim tool and your hands to lift up and remove the top cover trim. Pry up on and remove this upper trim. We removed the T20 screw in the back, which is causing this to wiggle a bit extra, but you don't need to do it, so don't do that. Next, remove this T20 screw and lift up on the trim to remove it. Then pry up and remove this door sill trim. Put back any fasteners into the trim if they stay behind. Then pry up and remove this door sill trim. Put back any fasteners into the trim if they stay behind. The lower piece has a bit more to it. Start with this T20 screw. Now you can lift up on and start to remove the lower trim, until you realize you forgot the cargo net. Once you remember, remove the plastic retaining tab and pull the net off. Do the same on the other side to completely remove it. Finally, pop off and remove the trim. Remove the rear center console cover simply by prying up. Now remove all of these T20 screws holding the rear panel in place. Now, at the base, pop open these covers and remove these two screws. Once the screws are out, pull off the retaining trim. Do this on the other side as well. We're not going to remove this panel completely, but just enough to access the speakers. Lift up and off the tabs that secure it. The last thing holding us back is this center pass-through. It's held together with a bunch of clips, so wiggle and pull until it breaks free. Bend the panel down and out of the way. Once the speakers are exposed, remove the 3 T20 screws holding the mid and tweeter housing in place. Once free, remove and unplug it. While here, let's remove the sub. Remove the 4 T20 screws holding it down, and then use a screwdriver to help carefully break it away from the housing. Once it pops free, unplug it and remove it. Back at the mid and tweeter housing, remove the 3 T20 screws holding the mid in place. Unplug it and remove it. To continue with the theme of BMW making this effortless, they glued the tweeter and its cable in place because why not? We found it easiest to take a set of flush cuts and start snipping away at the glue, which is almost brittle plastic. Be careful because the plastic of the housing is also very brittle. Good job, BMW! Once the glue has been broken apart enough, very carefully bend back the tabs holding the tweeter in place as you apply upward tension on the leads pulling it up. Just like you did for the front door, but this one is less forgiving. If you notice the Alpha 1 tweeter won't fit, there might be some excess glue. Make sure you get rid of it. Snap the Alpha 1 tweeter in its place. Place in an A40 mid and screw it down. Route the tweeter wire. And plug it into the mid. Plug the filter cable into the other slot on the mid. tidy everything up. Back at the car, place the Alpha 1 sub in place and screw it down. Plug it in. Grab the tweeter and mid housing. Plug the main lead into the other end of the filter cable. Line up the housing like so, and screw it into place. Do the same thing to the other side, and the speaker installation is complete. Now, the super fun part of putting everything back together. Start by snapping the pass-through back together. Reinstall all the screws up top. Reinstall the retainers and screws at the bottom. Slide the side panel back in and replace the screw. Slide back in this trim and reinstall the screw. Snap the door sill back on and make sure the weather stripping is in place. Slide on and snap in this upper trim. Remember to do this on both sides. Snap the rear center console trim in place. Replace the cargo net. Even Chaz jumped in on this one. Replace the front halves of the rollover support covers on both sides. Reinstall the screws. Replace the small center mesh pieces. And then snap the rear cover trim back on. Slide the top panel back in place. Finally, slide back in the center mesh once you figure out which direction it goes. Now to start removing trim to get to where the amp will go. Start with this rear trim piece by removing the 4 fasteners holding it down. To make removal easier, you might want to peel back the weather stripping and remove the centerpiece as well. Once you can, pull up to remove the trim. Now for the side trim. Start with these cargo tie-downs. With a trim tool, carefully remove the cover, and with a T40 bit, remove the bolt. Do the same for the front and back one. After that, remove the rest of the fasteners holding this panel in place. This car appears to be missing a few, so chances are you'll have a few more. After that, peel back the weather stripping and remove the panel. After that, remove the factory RAM and booster module to be able to install the Alpha 1 amp onto the factory bracket. Start by locating and removing these two 10mm nuts. Once removed, pull the bracket out and start disconnecting everything. For these two, push in the center tab and rotate the arm. All the rest are some variation of a pinch and pull. Remove the bracket from the car. Now we get to the part where we have to attach our amp to the BMW bracket. Now keep in mind, once we get our custom brackets made, this part's going to be a little bit different, so make sure you check the PDF instructions you get when you place your order. Now we need to remove the factory booster from the bracket by removing 3 8mm bolts holding it in place. Keeping in mind this is not the final product, Kevin decided to add some foam between the amp and bracket to cut down on vibrations. He then added back this 8mm bolt to secure the Alpha 1 amp to the factory bracket. Keep in mind that soon these amps will be shipped with a bracket attached that will line up and bolt on perfectly. Now let's start plugging in the amp. Take the Alpha 1 plug-and-play harness and start connecting everything to the amp. Everything only goes in one place. The REM cable is for an external sub and can be left out, and the adapter cable is for future-proofing of the amp, but that can be left out too. Finally, flip the amp around and plug in the USB cable. We'll install the power cables after we mount it. Now let's get to the installation. Bring the assembly to the car. Begin plugging everything back into the RAM module except the slide lock connector. We'll get to that. Keep in mind that this part is not exactly how the final product will look, but Kevin then took the factory booster and placed it here. He secured it to this stud with, I'll be honest, a rusty nut we found laying around. Again, the final assembly you get will be complete and definitely new. Now grab the gray slide lock connector you removed and place that into the slot labeled booster on the Alpha 1 harness. Press it in and rotate the arm to lock it into place. Take the other side of that harness and place that into the booster. Press it in and rotate the arm to lock it. Now take the factory black slide lock and insert that into the RAM slot on the Alpha 1 harness the same way as the other connector. Take the other side and plug that into the RAM module. Now tidy up all the excess. Tuck it away, use cable ties, and so on. Now we need to add power and ground. Take the power and ground cable from your kit and plug it in like so. To ground it, feed the ground cable up to this stud here and secure it with a 10mm nut. Tidy up the ground cable with cable ties for a clean installation. For the power, run it along and secure it with cable ties to this existing harness. Tuck it under the side trim. To attach it to the battery, remove this plastic cover, remove this 10mm nut, slide the connector over it, and reinstall the nut and terminal cover. Now that we're done back here, let's put the trunk back together. Start with the side panel and its fasteners. Then the tie downs. Next, carefully snap the rear trim and its centerpiece back in place. Reinstall the fasteners. Finish up this part by pushing the weather stripping back in place. You always got to make sure you put this back completely, whether you think you need it or not. Sorry, he's listening to my new mixtape. Reconnect the negative terminal on your battery, replace the floor panel, and you're done. And that is how you install our Alpha 1 speaker and amp kit on a Z4. Want this for your BMW? Head on over to our website and enter your VIN to get yours today. Still not sold on this kit? Well, take a look at what some of these YouTubers are saying.
You know, this isn't just white labeling something that's super cheap and putting it on a fancy bracket and going, here you go. I guess we'll... Gets louder.
Yeah, that
hurt.
Yo, that's insane! It hits you different, it hits your chest.
These are the factory HK woofers. I then gave Matt this woofer to upgrade to, and now we're putting the Alpha 1 woofers, and I promise you, I've tried all three of them in my F10. This is the clear winner. This is why I run this woofer in my car.
As you can see, you can do this yourself in our BeamerTech DIY Essentials Kit and Trim Tool Kits. will make this simple, including all the tools you need and more. However, if you don't feel comfortable doing this yourself, you could find one of our certified installers near you. We have them in about 30 countries around the world. And hey, don't forget that if you're in the Orlando, Florida area, well then stop on by and we can do it for you. For more tips and tricks, product reviews, and so much more for BMWs, Minis, and Supras, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to ring that bell. And hey, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Thanks for watching.